All right, guys. First example in our 9 weeks review. We have this solid line and it's shading above this line. So it has to be the greater than or equal to because it's solid and it's shading above. Then this looks like it's going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So our slope is 1x. Then it crosses the y-axis at 4. So that's our equation for the first one. And this one, the one that's going down, you have, it's shading above still, so it's greater than, but it's not a solid line, so it's just greater than. The slope, it looks like it's going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, so it's negative 1x. And then it crosses the y-axis at negative 1. So this is the equation. Don't rush, guys. Look at it carefully, because when I first saw it, I don't know why I thought it was A. But then I matched it correctly with the correct equation with the correct inequality sign, and the answer is C. Now, to check your answer, you can always go to Desmos online graphing calculator, and you're going to go Y, and then you click here where the keyboard is, and then you would put is greater than. Then you would type in the rest of the equation, negative x plus 4, enter, and you get a new equation. Y is greater than or equal to, oops, I typed in the wrong one. X plus 4 was the second one. The first one is negative x minus 1. Okay. All right, and then you match it up. It overlaps in this corner. So, yep, there it goes. It overlaps there. All right, number 2, it says write an absolute value function given the following transformation. Vertical stretch of 2, horizontal shift left 1 unit, and vertical shift 9 units down. So we're gonna use the vertex form of absolute value functions, where the A would tell us if it's a vertical shift or vertical compression. So then if it's a vertical, stretch, then it's a 2. So this one has a 2 in the front, just like in a place of our A, and this one has a 2 in front. So then B and A are out, so it's between C and D. Then you look at the next one. It says horizontal shift left 1 unit. That's going to be inside in place of our H. Left has to be plus, so this one has a plus 1, but this one has a minus 1. So it already looks like it should be this one. And the last one says vertical shift 9 down. So the K has to be a minus 9 if it shifts down. So the only one you have to watch out for is the horizontal one. It's always the opposite. All right, number 3, it says, what is the solution to, and you can check your answer. Let's check our answer. I'm going to go to, let's just get rid of this. So I want to check my answer. Y equals, oops, I'll try it again. Y equals 2, and then the absolute value sign is this one. X plus 1. I'm going to click right and then put plus 9, so we're outside of the absolute value functions. And then I don't know what I did wrong because I don't see anything. Oh, sorry, it should be minus 9. There we go. And there it is. You see it shifted down and shifted left. All right. Number 3, it says, what is the solution to the system of equation below? Well, if it's telling you it's a system, then we're supposed to have 2 or more equations. So here I can only see 1. So this must mean that I have one line on top of the other. So that's going to be infinitely many solutions. So our options are no solution, or, and this got cut off, infinitely many solutions. So it's this one. All right. Next problem, number 4. It says, what is the solution to the system of equations? If they never intersect, then the answer is no solution. Next one, it says, what is the solution to the system of equation below? So when you only have 2 lines, you just have to look at where they intersect. And that intersects at -1 and down 3. So -1, -3. So -1, -3 is B. Okay, and just heads up, guys, because in the test, they'll ask you for the solution, so they'll want this, but they won't give you the graph. So what they're going to give you is the equation. So here the equation would be like this one right here would be y is equal to, looks like 1 over 2x plus 1, 2, like negative, so minus like, I don't know, 2.5 or something. Anyways, you would have to graph this, so that's where you would go again to the Desmos online graphing calculator. You would graph both equations and you would look for the intersection point. Hint, hint. All right, number 6, it says, are these inverse functions? So the easiest way to tell is to pick where it crosses right through a point. Now, this one, it doesn't cross right, this line here, but let me look for this one. Okay, this line here looks like it crosses here. Okay, so I'm going to pick that point, 1, 2. Now the inverse function, that would be this one, if it is in fact inverse, would have the x and the value and the y value switch. So it would be 2, 1. So I'm going to go and see if 2, 1 is on the line here, and 2, 1 would be here. So I would need a line that crosses through there, and this one doesn't. So the answer is no, they're not inverses of each other. All right, problem 7. It says, are these inverse functions? So again, oh, it's the same problem. Never mind. Let me skip that one. Number 8, find the inverse of f of x equals negative 4x minus 12. Okay, so they are going to give you an equation and they are going to ask you for the inverse. So these are the steps. You're going to change this to y. Then you're going to switch the x and the y. So that's going to be that's going to be x equals negative 4y equals 12. Then you're going to solve for y. So you're going to get rid of the 12 by adding a 12, adding a 12. If I add a 12 on the right, I add a 12 on the left, but they can only go next to each other because they're not like terms. The last step there is divide by a negative 4, divide everything by a negative 4. This will cancel out and just put a little 1 in front of the x. So this is negative 1/4 x. I'm going to write it over here. Y equals negative 1/4 x. And then 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. So there's my inverse function. So negative 1/4 x minus 3. That's this one. Now to check your answer, you can graph it. So I'm going to graph the original here. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put y equals negative 4x minus 12. That's the one we started with. Enter, and it's there. Then my answer choices, but I'm going to pick the right one. So y equals negative 1/4 x minus 3. Okay. All right. And then to check if these are inverses of each other, they do have to reflect across the line y equals x. So if you want, you can graph that one, y equals x, and that's one way of checking it. So do they look like a reflection of one over the other? I think they do, but we can be more specific and we can pick that point there. That looks like it's negative 3, 0. So I'm going to flip it and I'm going to check for 0, negative 3 on the blue, purple line. So what did I say? Negative 3, 0, and it does cross, see right there? So it crosses here and here. So they are inverses. So that's one way of doing it without having to do all the work. All right, number 9. It says, which of the following is a solution to the inequality? Now, guys, this one, same thing. In the test, they don't give you the graph. They're going to give you the equations. So you're going to go to Desmos Online Graphing Calculator and you're going to graph them. Then you're going to look at the graph and you're going to check these points. It's actually better if you have graphing paper. So, just so you know. 1, negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is definitely not in the shaded area, so that's out. 2, 3, 2, 3 definitely looks like it's in the shaded area, so that's probably your answer. Negative 2, negative 3, definitely too far out, and negative 1, positive 1 would definitely not be in the shaded area, So my answer is B, where they will overlap. So they're only showing us here where they overlap. Just make sure you're looking at the right spot on your graph. What is the domain of the inverse function of the given coordinates? Okay, so very important. We're looking at the inverse function of this. So it's not even this that they're wanting. They're wanting the inverse function and they're wanting the domain. Domain is x. So the inverse function actually switches your x and your y. So this is 2, 1, 8, 3, and 6, -3. So these are my points in the inverse function. Then they're asking me for the domain, which is the x value. So then this is the x value, this is the x value, and this is the x value. So my answer is D. Okay. All right. Just hint, guys, on this one on the test, it's actually a graph. So you're gonna have to, what I would suggest is get some points, and they do give you points. Switch the x and the y, make your new graph, and then get the domain. Remember, domain is left to right on a graph. Just trying to help you out on tomorrow's test. All right, number 11. Number 11 is a graph where they ask us to find the range. So range is bottom to top, and this actually has endpoints. So all you gotta do is, what is the lowest this graph goes? It goes to the 1, 2, 3, -3, right? It's not where it crosses the y-axis, it's how low is the lowest point, and the lowest point is here. So just go look at the y value, and that's -3, and then how high does it go? And that's +3. So then our range is -3 to +3. But very important here, we have the same answer, one with parentheses and one with brackets. Since these are open circle, it's parentheses. If it's closed circles or just a solid line, then the answer would be D. All right, number 12. What is the solution set to the equation? So it's giving us this absolute value function, and when it says what is the solution set, it's just solving for x. So I'm going to do it here. We have, actually, let me do it down here. We have 2x minus 12 minus 6 equals -22. We're going to get rid of whatever's outside of the absolute value first. That's going to be the 6 and then the 2. By doing the opposite, that's a -6 originally, so we have to do the opposite, add a 6. These are opposite signs, so we subtract and keep the sign of the larger one. Then we bring that down, but I still need to get rid of this 2. This 2 is touching the absolute value, that's multiplication. To get rid of it, we divide. What we do on one side, we do on the other. So this is going to be the absolute value of x of -12 equals -8. Then, now that I have this by itself, now I can split it. So I'm going to do x minus 12 equals -8. And you know what, guys? Did I make a mistake? Let me see. Plus. Oh, shoot. I don't know why this is a +22. I don't know why I made it a negative. Oops. So this is not a -16. It's a 28. So when divide by 2, we get 14. Wow. So here, when I split it, I set it equal to 14. And then I write it again. Oops. I'll do it up here. And set it equal to -14. We want to get rid of the 12 first, so we're going to add a 12, add a 12. So x equals 26. And then here we want to add a 12, add a 12. These are opposite signs, so we subtract and keep the sign of the larger one. So our answer is -2 and +26. Our answer is B. All right, number 13. It says solve the inequality. Okay, so very similar to that absolute value, except that, hey guys, and I also picked these two because they're almost exactly the same on the test, okay? Because we have an inequality sign, we'll have to do one more step. So here we're going to solve it without the absolute value sign, exactly the way it is. And then we're going to solve it again and set it equal to a negative 28, but we have to change or flip the inequality sign. So let's solve. Subtract the 2, subtract the 2. 5x is less than 26. Divide by 5, divide by 5. So x is going to equal 26 over 5. Then again, do it here. Minus 2, minus 2. This is negative 30. And then bring down the 5x, divide by 5, divide by 5. X equals, not equals, x is greater than negative 6. So my answer, we always put the smallest number on the left. So it's going to be negative 6 on the left, and then 26 over 5 on the right. And then it opens to the 26 over 5. See, so this one opens to the 26 over 5. And over here, it should open to the x and not to the negative 6. So it opens to the x and not to the negative 6. So the answer is A. All right. We haven't done word problems of systems. So if you read the problem, it gives us a story where it says that 6 people are going on out to dinner, and they're going to buy chicken dinner or steak dinner, and then they give you how much it's going to cost each, and then the total bill. So you need to understand that they're giving you 2 totals. When they give you 2 totals, we're going to set them equal to each total. So one is total money spent, and one is total people. Total, guys, is always addition, okay? And this one is actually a system, so we can just use x and y for both, x and y, x and y, but total people can stay like that. Total money has to include the money. So this was, we're gonna make x, I guess, the chicken. So let me write that somewhere so I don't get confused, and y the steak. So 480 goes here, and $17 goes here with the y. And this is my 2 systems, and all you have to do is match it up. So it looks like my answer is A. Okay, just be careful with these two because they have it mixed up. So just, I wonder if it could be this one too. Well, no, because when we made it x, does it tell us that it's x? Well, this one has the total switch. Same thing here. Okay, well, it doesn't tell us which one's x and y, so we're just going to stick with that one. All right, last example here. It's the same type of setup where they're giving us, we're selling tickets, admission tickets to a play, and they're telling us how much money they collected, a total of $104. Then they're telling us how much the adult tickets cost and how much the children tickets cost, and they sold again a total of 21 tickets. So this is total. So we're going to write a system, meaning 2 equations. One is going to be total money, and one is going to be total tickets. Total money, total tickets. When you total something up, it's always addition, and it's always your variables. So x and y, x and y. And let's go ahead and make the x our adults. So I'm going to put it here, x equals adults, y equals children. Okay, so here then that means that total money should include the total money. Well, if x is adults and adults is $6, the 6 should be here with the x, and the y, the 4 should be here with the y. Now here though, this is our system, but they're actually asking us to find how many adult tickets were sold. That's going to be in our solution to the system. So for sure, I'm going to have to come here, graph both of the equations. So 6x plus 4y, 4y equals 104. That's my first equation. And then my second equation, x plus y equals total people, so 21. Right, and then I'm going to have to zoom out And our answer is going to be right here. Now this is kind of hard to see because we zoomed out a lot. And let's try and zoom back in so we can try and get our answer a little bit better. All right, so this looks like it's at 10. And then these are going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So going up by ones. So this is 10, 10, 11, excuse me. So my answer here is 10, 11. This is my X and this is my Y. And here they want to know how many adult tickets were sold. And we said adult was X. So then our answer is 10. Did you have to do a graph? No, you could do this by hand. We could have done elimination or substitution. I'm just going to do elimination because I think it's easier. So I would multiply this second equation by a -6 so that these would cancel out. So that would be -6x minus 6y equals 126, negative 126. So this would cancel out. This would give me a -2y equals, and these would be subtracted. So that would be 2. And it would be -22. Then we divide both sides by -2, both sides by -2. And this actually ends up giving me my y. So I can get the y and plug it back in here. So I know that x plus y equals 21. And if 11 is 21, then x has to be 10 because 10 plus 11 is 21. All right, so that's how you could have done it by hand without having to graph. All right, good luck on tomorrow's test.